I was thinking about why so many people, especially those of us who've been around the block a few times, start something with so much fire only to watch it slowly flicker out. It's not usually a lack of talent or a lack of heart. It's usually because we were sold a lie about what entrepreneurship is supposed to look like. Let's just be real for a second, just you and I. Have you ever had that moment where you look at your screen or your bank account or your to-do list and you realize that even though you're the boss, you've actually built yourself a very demanding job? A job where if you don't show up, the money stops. If you don't answer that email, the momentum dies. And if you take a week off, the whole thing starts to lean. That's the trap. Most entrepreneurs fail because they build a business that is 100% dependent on their own personal battery. And eventually, every battery runs dry. Look, you've probably felt that quiet, creeping exhaustion where you start questioning if you're even cut out for this. But I want to tell you right now, you aren't the problem. The structure is the problem. See, we were taught to be grinders. We're taught that if it's not working, we just need to push harder, stay up later, and sacrifice more. But if your income only grows when your stress grows, that's a losing game. It's like trying to fill a bathtub with a teaspoon, right? You're working yourself to death just to keep up with the water level from dropping. The shift, that real aha moment, it happens when you stop trying to be the engine and start building tracks. Look, I stopped asking, how can I do more? And I started asking, what can I build today that will work for me tomorrow? It's the difference between carrying buckets of water and building a pipeline. Look, most people are exhausted because they've been carrying buckets of water for years. Sure, they're really strong, but they're also really tired. People who actually make it, the ones who have the freedom we all talk about, they spent their time building a system that moves the water for them. And look, I'm not talking about some complicated tech setup or having a massive team. I'm talking about leverage. It's about putting your energy into things that compound. Things that don't need you to be on 24/7 just to exist. Because if you don't make that change, 5 years from now, you're going to be in the exact same spot. The same routine, the same pressure, just 5 years more tired. Look, I know you don't want that. You want options. You want to know that if you want to spend that afternoon away from your desk, the world isn't going to end. Now, if this is hitting home and you've tried things before that just didn't click, it might be just that you were using the wrong blueprint. Look, click the link in the description to see exactly what this shift looks like. See how people just like you are moving away from the grind and towards a system that is showing them how to get their time back. Look, there is no fluff, no pressure, just to look at a different way to build. Because at the end of the day, you shouldn't have to choose between your success and your sanity. Now, if you're ready to stop being the engine and start building a system, click the link in my bio and let's talk about how to get you off that timer.